I'd like to introduce our moderator, who's also our first speaker, Dr. Yang Fubin, former Dean of the School of Law and Politics at Beijing Second Foreign Language Institute, current Executive Dean and Distinguished Professor of the Honors College of Beijing Institute of Technology Zhuhai campus, member of the Whitehead Research Center at United International College, mostly famous for being my friend. No, actually, that's not true. But a major and one of the important translators of Whitehead's works, especially to process and reality into Chinese, which is no simple task. So, with that, Fubin, here you go.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm Yang Fubin from UIC. And I'm honored to be the chairperson in this section. There will be 4 speakers. Before I give the lecture, I want to say 2 things. First, about in 1847, the first Chinese student to study in the United States, his name is Rong Hong, traveled 3 months from China to America. And in 1924, Whitehead traveled about 11 days from Britain to America. And today, we Chinese scholars traveled only 15 hours from Zhuhai to Boston. Then the question arises, what is the main reason behind this? It seems that it's mainly due to the technological advancement on the surface. But according to Whitehead, maybe the underlying reason is the progress of human civilization. According to Whitehead, one of the reasons for the progress of civilization is dependent on the adventure of ideas. I think what we are doing here today is a new adventure of ideas. The first. Second, I want to say, French philosophers once said, the publication of Whitehead's works is an event in the 20th century. And David Griffin said, it's impossible that the 21st century will be the Whiteheadian century. Recently, Professor Guo and me have agreement with the press in Beijing. Just this morning, just as what John Cobb mentioned, we will edit and publish the complete works of Whitehead, about 20 volumes in 2 or 3 years. I think if we finished the complete works of Whitehead in Chinese version, I think at least it's an event in Chinese circle of Whitehead studies.
I think it will take five years.
Yeah. And recent years, I'm focused on the comparison of Marx and Whitehead. So this time, I will give a lecture. The title is Marx and Whitehead on the concept of process. Marx and Whitehead are both process thinkers recognized by academic circles in the East and the West. Mainly in that they both believe that the world is a process, but their understanding and interpretation of the concept of process are very different. It's of great academic value and practical significance for us to understand and interpret the difference of their process thought. Not only for Marx practical materialism, but also for Whitehead's process philosophy. I think the difference is the subject or career of the process is different. When we say the world is a process, this is what Whitehead said. And or the world is not a collection of established things, but a collection of process. This is what said by Engels, the friend of Marx. Well, actually looking at the subject or career of the process as a whole world from a microscope perspective. So from the micro perspective, what is the subject or career of the process? To this, Marx and Whitehead's answer and understanding are very different. In China, recent years, when I give a lecture in the Summer Academy, many Chinese students ask me, they ask, what is process? Oh, whose process? As you know, in China, most people know the basic idea of materialism. So they think the process is the process of the material. They think that if there is no material, no matter, where is the process? So recently, I think it's a problem. It's a question. I found Whitehead and Marx, their answer is different. In Marx's view, world history is nothing but a process of continuous generation through man's practical activities. Therefore, in the face of dialectical philosophy, there is nothing final, absolute, sacred, departed to the temporality of all things. Nothing exists before it except the constant process of becoming and destruction. The endless rise from the lower to the higher. It is itself a reflection of this process in the thinking mind. These words we can find in the works of Marx and Engels. From Marx's interpretation of the course of the world history, then we can see that Marx explained everything on the basic of human practice. For him, the subject or career of this world historical process is the active and creative practical activity of man and not a matter, as understood by all the old materialists, including Feuerbach's humanistic materialism. Although Marx still called his philosophy practical materialism. The subject or career of the process understood and interpreted by Whitehead is the actual entities or the actual occasions or the actual occasion of experience. Whitehead believes that all the matter or material understood by the traditional substantial philosophy has committed the fallacy of misplaced concreteness and has summarized the active objective material phenomenon or events as abstract and isolated substantial matter. But what is really a process is a real event or occasion, not an inert, solid matter. Such substance do not actually exist in the real world. It can be seen from above that Marx and Whitehead's understanding and interpretation of the process subject are different, although both of them rejected the old materialist concept of abstract substance. Marx replaced it with practice, and Whitehead with event or occasion of experience. A deeper understanding of this difference in thought between the two men is obviously not irrelevant to a deep understanding of process thought, but is particularly meaningful. The second different, I think the scientific basis is different. The concept of process in Marx, I think Darwin's biological evolution is his scientific basis. But in Whitehead, electromagnetism and quantum mechanics is his scientific basis. There's a second. At that time, the scientific basis for Marx to put forward and interpret his process thought was mainly Darwin's biological evolution. At that time, in the field of natural science, only the biological evolution was the first time to truly regard biological evolution as a process, and then elaborated that the phenomenon of life in nature is constantly evolving. Engels had a clear summary in his later years. At the same time, Marx also dialectically absorbed Kant evolution thought and process thought in Asian science. While Whitehead's process thought is mainly based on electromagnetism and quantum mechanics. Of course, he also attached great importance to Darwin's biological evolution side. But it mainly built on the dynamics of the microscope world revealed by quantum mechanism, showing that even a tiny quantum is an event. And then a macroscope stone monument, such as the obelisk near Cambridge University in Britain, is an event. And a star is an event. According to quantum mechanism, even a stone is actually an event made of a sea of electrons. So from the quantum mechanical point of view, there is no such thing as solid matter. There was no quantum mechanics in Marx's day. So it's not surprising that Marx still adopted the concept of matter to define his new philosophy. I think maybe Marx have no new concept about his idea. So he called his philosophy is practical materialism or historical materialism. But according to in my opinion, if according to Whitehead idea, Marx's idea is not a materialism. It's very different. Whitehead, on the other hand, completely abandoned the concept of physical matter according to the concept of quantum mechanism, which is an important contribution. The third difference is the position and the function of process category are different in each philosophy of system. In Marx, the process is only a secondary category in his system, not a main idea, not a core idea. His main idea is practice. But I think in Whitehead, process is a core category in his system. The conclusion. So I think at least there is three differences on the concept of process between Marx and Whitehead. To sum up, although Marx and Whitehead differ in the understanding and interpretation of the concept of process, the natural science and the status and the role of this category in their philosophical systems, they both insist that the world is a process and should be viewed from the perspective of process, including everything in the world which is common. How to integrate their process thought and form a more complete process philosophy system is a historical mission of Western and Eastern process thought scholars in the future. As Marxist with Chinese characteristics, we believe that Marx's philosophy in the need to generalize and summarize the latest scientific achievements, such as quantum mechanics, on the basis of more thoroughly adhere to the concept of the world is a process collection. Carry out the process of thought, completely eliminate the negative impact of the old materialism, material concept. Here, by the way, now many Chinese thinkers think maybe the materialism we translate into Chinese 唯物主义. Now, more and more people think maybe translation is wrong. So now, including the idealism, we translate it into 唯心主义. Now, more and more Chinese scholars think maybe we translate it in another term, it's better. At the same time, for Whitehead's philosophy, we should also see its shortcoming in practice and naturalism, and transform it with Marx's practical materialism in order to make it play a greater basic role in the construction of human ecological civilization and human community with a shared future. Some American professors asked me, including Jay, why do you like and study Whitehead process philosophy? I think more and more, I think maybe, as you know, now China is, how to say, ecological civilization. Our government put forward this term and try our best to this thing. I think Whitehead philosophy can be a very good philosophical basis for this career and so on. Thank you.